Hey guys, welcome to Dylan's Little Hobbies, and I honestly was not going to do a review for these episodes when I started watching them. I thought, watch the next 3, 4, 5 episodes, see how they do. I wasn't expecting much. Boy, was I wrong. So, after watching the next 2 episodes, after watching the first 2 episodes of Season 2 of Raven's New Home, I had to do this video. So, let's talk about Season 2 of Raven's New Home, Episode 3 and Episode 4. I absolutely loved what they did with the first 2 episodes, but these episodes are even better. Let's get into this. So, Episode 3 has to do with Booker and the problem that he doesn't have many followers on, I don't know what they called it, but it's basically a ripoff of Facebook. I like the idea because it brings a fact of the fact that kids today worry more about their online image than their real life image. I like the fact that that is being brought into the show, even though this show technically it still feels like one of the old shows that I grew up with. None of the shows that I grew up with, probably because it wasn't that big of an issue growing up, did they tackle something like this, where it's an online issue like this. And it's just kind of interesting that it's not like they tackled it really, but they brought it up. The fact that kids today usually are on social media and stuff like that and worried about how many followers they have versus, hanging out in the real world. It's just something interesting that I saw. Anyways, moving on. Then you got with the rest of the episode, Booker, because of this, wants to tell the world that he's a psychic. Now, his mom says no, and the simple reason is really, even though she didn't say it, was because people usually hate what they don't understand, and it ends up getting people into trouble if you stand out. And that's an issue with society, and they didn't really go that route, but that's basically what the meaning of this episode really was. That not everyone's going to understand, and it's going to get yourself into some trouble. Which it does. Eventually, Booker tries to basically not tell that he's psychic, but try to help others because he's still trying to get people to like him on his internet image, whatever it's called. I don't remember what it's called. Whatever they were doing. It was basically Facebook to me. So, followers on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Basically, it's just supposed to image that. So, yeah, he's trying to get more followers. He makes a mistake by telling this one girl that he knows where her puppy's going to be. And, of course, at first, he seems to get away with it. And then he finds the puppy and he brings it to her. And she accuses him of stealing the dog because he knew where the dog was and he brought the dog back. So how on earth is this even possible? So then he tells her that he's psychic, and when she doesn't believe him, I thought, oh, so this is gonna be their way out of it. But turns out no. Because the dog likes him, she decides to believe him, and while she promises not to tell him, she doesn't promise not to post about it. And she posts about it, and the very next day, everybody knows she's a psychic. Also, there's a really cool little moment between Tess and Nina. I just like their friendom, and that's really important in the next episode, but for this episode, it was really fun just seeing Tess try to help Nia out a bit, and Nia having another boy crush. I mean, that's what all shows do. When it comes to the women, they always have some weird boy crush, because that's how society really is, unfortunately. Kids that age usually have strange boy crushes. So, because of that, she likes this one, I think it was a football player, and he wants to know if he's going to win the game, so he wants Booker to read his future. So, he actually befriends her, trying to basically get Booker to tell him the future. Booker does, ends up not working the right way. He ends up getting hurt when he was supposed to be the hero of the game. And they all learn their lesson that basically, yeah, it's not so easy being psychic. Yeah, I just absolutely enjoyed every single minute of this episode. It had great humor on Booker, did great on Levi. I love the idea that Levi's actually really popular. And Nia's character throughout this entire episode, it just absolutely worked. And at the very end, Raven, I almost said Raven actually does sit down with their kids and talks to them, and basically puts them in both trouble. What I don't like is the fact that she really didn't discipline them very much, other than just taking their phones away, which I don't know. It doesn't seem like the correct kind of punishment to give. I think there should have been more, like maybe they're grounded for a month or something like that. I guess you couldn't do that because, well, the show has to continue. So it wouldn't make sense for the rest of the month that they're in detention or trouble for the rest of the month. But anyway, moving on. I really liked episode 3. I liked it more. I actually enjoyed it more than the first 2 episodes. But I think my favorite episode would definitely be episode 4 when it comes to this season. So in episode 4, this is actually really, really funny. So it all starts out with them finding problems with the apartment, and then Ryan notes to their landlord. Turns out their landlord sold the place to a new landlord, and that landlord has a kid who he ends up giving control of the building to, which it causes a whole set of problems because of it. And the little guy is actually pretty much demanding. He acts like an absolute boss. It's actually really, really funny, really, really amusing to see a kid in a position like this. But eventually it causes them to apparently not have access to the cleaners for like 5 weeks by the end of the show. It's so hilarious, and it's so funny seeing both Levi and, of course, what's her name, Chelsy, trying to get into the cleaners without Mitch knowing that's the kid. The kid's name is Mitch, and it's just a really, really fun time. Really, really is. But the absolute best part of the episode is between Raven and, of course, Booker, but mostly Raven. Raven doesn't exactly trust Nia's friend Tess, which I don't blame her at all. The way Tess acts seems a little strange. And the fact that she had actually I can't remember what it's called, a lock breaker in her pocket, and actually gave it to Chelsy. Like, who carries a lockpick in their pocket? I swear, that's a little weird. But anyway, it turns out that she has a vision that both Nia and Tess are going to be in the back of a cop car. And they start worrying about that. Turns out, by the end of the episode, they're in the back of the cop car because their friend, Tess's uncle, is a cop. And apparently they were going to go watch for bad guys, basically. And this is so funny. So Booker and Raven are trying to watch for Tess and Nia, and what ends up happening is they see him in the back of a car, back of the cop car, Raven's vision, and Booker also has another vision where he sees them in jail, and she tries to go up to them and talk it out. She starts the car, and she hits the cop car. So it's actually Raven and Booker that get in jail, and they were looking through the bars of Tess and Nia. It's just amusing that happened. Turns out, Tess is actually a really good kid. As for the other thing, Mitch kind of comes back, tries to figure out who is vandalizing the building. It turns out to be Nia, of all people. I expected Tess. I'm sorry, I did expect Tess. Turned out to be Nia. What I don't like is at the end of the episode, you know, vandalizing, that's some serious, that's really serious. And Nia never gets any real serious punishment for that. I just don't think the punishments in this episode, in this series so far, fits the crime. I guess they can't do that because, of course, they have to have more episodes, but at the same time, she vandalized property of the building that she lives in. There should be a lot more... Yeah, she should be in a lot more trouble than what she is. A lot more punishment than what she gets. But other than that slight bit of criticism, I really, really loved the episode. I thought it was hilarious. I liked the fact that it was Mitch who found out that it was actually Nia who vandalized the building. I thought it was all fun. Anyway, guys, I absolutely love these episodes, and I'm about to go watch episode 5 and 6. Like, share, subscribe for more, and I'm out. Bye. Raven's new home. It's awesome.